Thank you. Uh, we have a really impressive panel over here in the last session of the day. Already the burnout is setting in, I think, which is the same with the talent and senior and junior folks. The last session, but I think we have one of the most pertinent sessions over here, and the most challenging session of talent. Getting talent, retaining talent, skilling and upskilling talent, and looking at talent for the future. Especially when we have the elephant in the room, which is AI. Every second, we are hearing about AI replacing humans. So, I would quickly want to go to, let's say we start from Chetan. He's sitting farthest from me. So talent is the biggest challenge over here. What are your thoughts on this? Like, how are we grappling this issue? Both in the PR industry, the corporate communication industry. How big do you think the challenge is?
The challenge, of course, is very, very real, because if you look at the two ends of spectrum, people who are very experienced, they are not willing to learn new things, definitely not AI. And people who don't have much experience, they don't want to work too hard and too much. So how do you find balance between these two is I would say, the biggest challenge. So getting people who are senior folks to both understand, how to deal with the new generation, how to deal with the changing times, not only in our industry, but generally, I think how businesses are done have changed dramatically in the last 5 years. And the kind of talent we need today is very different from what we needed 5 years ago. And I think that's a big gap in the ecosystem. If you look at it from a fresher's point of view, it takes a lot of energy to train these people in the first couple of years. And the ones who stay back, they become, fortunately, the best talent we have in the agency. And most of them also go on the other side, and Seema should be really happy about that fact. So we train a lot of people who end up being on the other side of the table. But at the same time, I think today, if you look at purely from an AI point of view, the good thing is AI is very consistent. Talent is very inconsistent. So it gives us some balance.
Okay. To go to Seema, from the PR, from the external point of view, like, when you're dealing with clients, I can understand about the challenge that you talked about. Seema, you're very well placed because, you're looking from your own company, from the internal talent, how you get them, and you're very focused, like, it has to be very knowledge-based talent that you have to look for. So what do you have to say?
Correct, that's right. So talent certainly is a challenge today, but let me put a different perspective. I think talent challenge is not scarcity, but rather specificity. And I'll explain that. There was a time when we used to see that there are not enough PR professionals available for you to hire. But today, I think we've got about 150 institutes where we've got about 5,000 to 6,000 graduates who are joining the workforce every year. And when it comes to really hiring them, what needs to be seen is how many of them are really employable. And when I say employable, it doesn't mean that they do not have the subject knowledge, they're not good PR professionals. But I think what they really lack is a composite capability, knowledge. For instance, today you don't need PR professionals who are just good in writing or networking or good in communication, English as a language. You need much more beyond that, right? And some of these things are, for instance, we were talking about AI. So the digital literacy is very important. So besides digital literacy and AI knowledge and tech literacy, etc., what you actually need, especially for a sector like ours, is the subject matter expertise. So you need to have the business acumen and you need to have the industry understanding. Without that, it becomes very difficult for any PR professional to be able to really add value to the business. Because let's see, business today is looking at PR professionals who are not just PR professionals, but management executives who are able to align the communication strategy with the business objective, right? The business vision. So that's very important. So in light of that, the challenges that I face and which I have actually been addressing all these years is that, when I hire people in my team, I make sure that I hire specialists. For instance, I just recently hired, I was telling Deepthi a while ago, that I've just hired a prompt engineer. So this person is not just good in English as a language, but the person really knows how do you really design the prompts when using AI, so that the outcome that you get is not just the outcome, but is something that narrates the brand voice. So I think challenges are different and you have to find different kind of solutions.
But I think, Seema, you touched upon a good point, which we will come to very soon on this, how talent is sort of evolving. And, as you rightly spoke about hiring prompt engineers, looking at the future of work. And that's how talent, and across industries, I guess, a lot of evolution is happening on the nature of the job. And the talent, how it is sort of coping and becoming and skilling and upskilling is happening and all. So that we will come to quickly. But before that, I thought, Sarvesh ji, aapse bhi puchna tha ki from an industry perspective, can you just touch upon a little bit on the challenge of talent, how?
I will, but first of all, thank you, ma'am. मैंने जब अपनी कंपनी का नाम PR प्रोफेशनल्स रखा था, तो मेरी यही इच्छा थी कि जब भी कोई मीटिंग में या कहीं गेट टुगेदर या कोई पैनल में बैठे तो 4 बार PR प्रोफेशनल्स बोला जाए और मेरा SEO उससे बढ़ता है. तो थैंक यू, आपने 3 बार मेरे ब्रांड का भी नाम लिया. बट जस्ट मूविंग अपार्ट, फ्रॉम चिम्पैंजी टू जेंजी हमने बहुत बड़ा सफ़र तय किया है. और इस सफ़र में जो मैंने ये देखा कि अंग्रेज़ों ने कुछ नाम बताए, बेबी बूमर. अच्छा, बेबी बूमर मैंने देखा तो मैंने कहा ये तो अमेरिका गया, उसने लड़ाई की, वहाँ पे बच्चे पैदा हुए, भारतीयों पे कैसे बेबी बूमर अप्लाई हो. सो why I am saying this, that we have carved out certain jargons which we are using every day, Gen Z, millennial, ये सब हमारे लिए शायद उतने नहीं, हमारे तक पहुँचते पहुँचते थोड़ा टाइम लगता है. बट विद द एडवेंट ऑफ AI and digital media, I think it is becoming very rapid, the reach is becoming very rapid. पर टैलेंट का मुझे इस बात की खुशी है कि हमारे यहाँ बहुत ही अच्छा रिटेंशन ऑफ एम्प्लॉय है, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट ओनली अबाउट हायरिंग, इट्स अबाउट रिटेंशन ऑल्सो. एंड आई हैव ऑलवेज सेड, पहले मैं 90% कहता था, अब 80% पे आ गया हूँ, थैंक्स टू सो कॉल्ड नए बच्चे बेचारे, उनको कुछ चीज़ों की अहमियत ज़्यादा होती है. पर इट्स अ कॉम्पोजिशन ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस बिना स्पीड के स्लो हो जाता है, और अगर बिना इनोवेशन के स्लो हो जाता है, और इनोवेशन बिना एक्सपीरियंस के रिस्की हो जाता है. सो आज की डेट में सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट है एमलगमेशन करना, एमलगमेशन ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस एट द सेम टाइम जेंजी और जो इनोवेशन पे काम करने वाले लोग हैं, और इसी समन्वय से यू विल गेट बेटर वर्क फोर्स एंड योर एजेंसी और कम्युनिकेशन इंडस्ट्री इज गोइंग टू ग्रो.
Now I will come to Vandana. Vandana, if we come to the next part of the challenge of talent, as Seema also touched upon it, that roles are evolving, talent is evolving, right? And you have to be more future ready, given AI in the room. And I know, your organization and you have been stressing on training and talent from the PR perspective. You have you stressed on a lot of training and all those things. Now, if you can quickly tell us a little bit about how things are evolving. What kind of roles, like just as Seema talked about that you're hiring prompt engineers kind of a thing. From the PR perspective, how are roles changing? What is happening? From a plain vanilla PR person from a communication person or from a content person, how things are more, becoming more specialized in this sector.
Sure. So I think we are at a very interesting point where everything that we have learnt and all the playbooks that we've had and what has got us here is not going to get us ahead. So it's very clear that it doesn't matter how experienced one is in this field, you have to look at everything afresh. And I think for us senior folks, that's the most difficult part to unlearn. It's so easy to diss the Gen Z, to say, these guys don't get it. They have it very easy. And in our good old days, we had to work 365, 24/7. So I think few of these myths is what we are looking at to see that this behemoth called AI, which has pretty much just transformed everything. We're trying to break it down to seeing how is it that we make it more relevant and have a reverse mentoring of sorts, where it's the younger team members, colleagues who are teaching the older folks who've pretty much been in the analog world most of our working lives, and the other way around. So it's a partnership approach, number one. Number two is, it's fancy to say AI is changing everything, but you also need to get to what is AI changing. So we've, at Burson, have taken it at 3 levels. One is efficiencies. We know that the younger team members do not want to do daily news you can use and reports, go through manually all the papers, what we grew up in this profession. Can AI bring that efficiency in so that you're able to take out some drudgery from the work? At the second level, we all have to now become multifaceted in putting interesting programs that will make a difference to the client's business. Gone are the days where if you got a good story in a Times of India or the Economic Times, you as a PR person or an agency were the cheer of the client. Not anymore. The clients are expecting us to come with ideas that will move the business needle. And for that, all of us in the PR profession have to have the ability to be able to connect the dots, think business, and not just stay siloed into our own PR space. So to your point, all of us have to be able to know everything about everything. And that is, again, where technology and AI comes into play. What took us years to be able to, months to research something, now in a matter of a few minutes, if not seconds, you're able to get that research. But that's just one part of it. How do you distill that research? How do you make that data work for your client is where the magic lies. So I would say these are the few things that we are, looking at it, but it has to be a learning mindset. It has to basically be incumbent upon all of us to look at everything with a fresh lens and not say that, look, this worked 6 months ago, so let me just try this and it'll work. That's not the case.
So basically what you're trying to say is you shouldn't have a legacy hangover.
Not at all.
And keep thinking and looking forward and thinking, how, and as in technology changing simultaneously, you also start thinking,
Absolutely.
one has to be either a step ahead of that technology or do a very quick catch up over there.
Absolutely.
So that's how this thing. So very quickly, if I want to come to Subir on this thing, Subir from the consulting industry, you would look at talent very differently, from a different perspective, from a different lens. For you, what do you think, how is talent sort of evolving in this industry?
Yeah, from the professional services perspective, I think we need experts who can handle different types of policy, advocacy, PR, and include all those things, and also have an understanding about how the AI or the tech part of it also is kind of gets intermingled into the whole thing. So that for us in professional services, it's a little different from the other sectors, because we have to speak about tax, we have to speak about issues which are related to policies, we have to speak about we have to get understanding of maybe audit also, and also about sectors where we work in. So our scheme of things are a little different. So we sometimes look at specialists who understand finance better, or who would understand maybe audit, they can understand the number games and do number crunching better. But we also need people who have worked in the cyber security, because we also have a big cyber tech practice. So it's a very vast plethora of subject matter experts that we need in a consultancy or a professional services firm. So from our side, we look at it from those angles. But at the same time, we are seeing that everyone is actually now seeing how to use this AI. But there are definitely, we have put some guardrails as to where and to what extent you can use it. So that there is no issues about plagiarism or just unnecessary pickup of information and place it in form of a report or some kind of analysis which can put question mark in the client's mind. So all those things are happening in our organization. At the same time, we have to also ensure that it's not overwhelming and have a culture in the organization which will actually give you a psychological safety that, okay, fine, if you don't understand, it's okay to ask seniors or ask the partners who are learning. So we are trying to build that culture in the system.
So what we understand is from the different industries and from the brands and corporate communication to PR to professional services, we have different sets of skills and training and knowledge that you would need. Now that is at a very broad level of talent challenge that we are dealing with, right? But quickly going into the other aspect of it is, apart from AI, we are also dealing with a very Gen Z mindset, which is sort of first to get the right kind of talent in the room. Next is, how do you retain, and we heard today in the morning also that how loyalty is like going down by the second. And pretty much nobody expects that there is something called loyalty anymore, right? Gen Z doesn't understand what loyalty is all about, and managers are equally not expecting that. I mean, that brings me to a quick anecdote kind of a thing. Just before this, when we were catching up, I was sharing the idea that we typically have heard about KRA, KPIs and all, and we know what the full form of KRA is. But this whole KRA thing is now changing, and managers are also saying that, what is the full form of KRA? Kyun rakhe aapko? So that is the other challenge that we are dealing with, right? So how do you go about it? I mean, we can ask, Seema can start off.
Okay. So first of all, you're absolutely right. I was just reading somewhere that the attrition rate in our industry is about 16%. But the good thing is it's 1% below the industry, below the national average, right? So if you look at the other sectors, it's about 17%, and we are at 16%. So we can applaud ourselves because we are certainly doing something better. Coming to the retention strategy, the model that I think is really working for Gen Z is LEAD. And I'll explain what that is. L is learning and development, right? So what it means is that learning and development, it cannot be just an annual affair or a biannual affair. It has to be continuous and it has to be on the job. So it's very important for us to create this avenue for the Gen Z where they think that they're learning every day. And I can give you an example how I do it with my team is that I always keep shifting their roles from one to the other. So while they are specialists in their domain, I also I throw challenges at them, and I give them new responsibilities. For example, coming back to the prompt engineer that I just spoke about. So while I hired him as a prompt engineer, he was managing operations. He was managing a team of 100 people before he joined me. I just have a 35-member team. So what I have done is I have actually put him to work with my social media manager, and I have a Gen Z content creator. So that's the 2-member team that he's managing, and it's the reverse mentoring, right? So the content creator, she is actually helping him, and then he uses prompt engineer, and I'm happy to share that in the month of October and November, we ran 2 public interest campaigns. One was on cancer. It said that invisible yet important. That was a campaign we did on breast cancer. And the other one in November we did on diabetes. So both the campaigns, we ideated, we did everything, but then with the help of this prompt engineer, we were actually able to get it more specific. So for the first time, our campaign had different taglines for Insta and different for LinkedIn. So far, we had one campaign, and like most of us do, because we are lazy, you can't ideate and you can't do multiple campaigns yourself. But when we used AI, we directed it well, we were actually able to do that. So, you know, so that's how it really works. And your earlier, I just stopped at lead, sorry. So E stands for empathy. So if you look at the Gen Z today, we need to be really understand where they come from. And it's important that and especially in the case of mental health, if you look at, you know, they have their certain expectations from the work environment, and it's important that we empathize with them, we understand what they want. A stands for authenticity and adaptability. So authenticity means that you need to be really authentic in whatever message you are giving. Gen Z doesn't like that, you know, we say something else and we do something else. You have to really walk the talk. And adaptability, to your question, seniors, like how do we really do it? So we have to adapt to their ways of working. So we need to have new ways of working where we need to be open to have flexi hours we were talking about. How do you really do the flexi work with them? How do you really let them do remote work? How do you let them, prioritize their work life, right? And then that takes me to D, right? So D essentially is to give them a direction in terms of how their career is going to pan out. Are they really learning every day? Do they see that? If they see the visibility, then they stay on. So right now in my team, for instance, I have people who've been with me for 10 years, and I have people who've been with me only 2 years, and there are people who've come and gone. So I think if we really take care of if we implement the lead strategy, we should be in a position to retain the talent.
Yeah, I think Vandana wanted to say.
I just wanted to build on that I think the one glue that keeps it all together is really the culture of the organization that you work for. I think whichever era you may be from, if you relate to that culture, then you've got some plugs going in the right way. So for us at Burson, for the longest, our values were around teamwork, agility, meritocracy. But when we actually did a dipstick, we found that the values with the current generation, what means to them is very different. So our values are now centered around creativity, counsel, camaraderie. I mean, who would have thought that someone with 5 to 6 years of experience could aspire to be a counselor? We always tend to think that it comes with gray hair and, at least 20 plus years, no more. I mean, you have younger people very ambitious of being able to position themselves as counselors. So that then reflects in the refreshed values of Burson that we have. So I think it's about a complete relook at what we have. Similarly, you talked about training and learning programs. We are so used to doing classroom training, get 25, 30 people, one session. But we found that that just does not cut any ice because it's one size fits all. And it's inflexible because everybody wants to learn at their own time and pace. Online modules are what we are looking at. Bite-sized, gamified, to hold some interest, and to be able to then see, is that impact flowing into the work that we are doing? So I think it's a full 360 in questioning every process that we've held dear so far. And I think being part of a global network, we're able to offer interesting global assignments, make them part of different teams, just infusing variety and learning and making learning as much engaging and fun and not a chore. I think that goes a long way.
मैं इसमें थोड़ा सा ऐड करना चाहूँगा. I feel vacations. रिटेंशन के लिए जो सर्वे कहती है 58% Gen Z's, their reason for retention is vacations, leave, छुट्टियाँ, और ये fact है. अब I'll come to very quickly 3 points. why this is happening. One is समाज सोसाइटी ख़त्म हो रही है, लोग आपस में मिलते नहीं हैं, लोग फ़ोन पे डिजिटल सारा टाइम बिताते हैं. तो एक बच्चा जब किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में आता है तो उसकी एक्सपेक्टेशंस होती है कि सारे फ़न यहीं होने चाहिए. उसके ज़िंदगी के फ़न सिर्फ इस छोटे से पॉकेट वेपन के ऊपर रह गया है. और इसके बाद जब समय मिलता है, जब ये वेपन नहीं यूज़ कर रहा होता है, तो सोचता है कि ऑफिस मुझे मेरा मेंटल हेल्थ भी देखे, मेरे को ऐसा इन्वायरमेंट दे जहाँ पे मौज मस्ती हो और लर्निंग भी हो. और वो गलत नहीं है. प्रॉब्लम क्या हो रहा है, हम एक चीज़ जो मैं स्पेशली यंगर जनरेशन, पीछे 30 अंदर 30 में हम लोग आज बैठे हुए हैं, सारे जीते हुए लोग हैं. होता क्या है कि गैप इतना इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि आप सोच कुछ और रहे हो बट आपका अप्रूवल देने वाली सीमा हो जाए, या सर्वेश तिवारी है, तो आपकी सोच अगर कागज़ पे आती है, अल्टीमेटली मेरे पास आता है, दोनों मिसमैच हो जाता है. ये मैच नहीं बन पा रहा है, एंड दैट इज़ अ वेरी बिग प्रॉब्लम. सेकेंड इज़ कि जब हम एज देखते हैं, यू से मैं 28 साल इसमें रहा, बिजनेस में रहा, ये किया वो किया, बिजनेस स्टैंडर्ड मैं कहता हूँ आज तक से शुरू किया, वहाँ पहुँचा हूँ. लेकिन जब डिजिटल एज की बात करते हैं, हमारे से ज़्यादा उम्र के वो बच्चे हैं, एंड देयर डिजिटल एज इज़ मोर देन अस. और वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट क्रिएट करता है. वो अपने आप को आपसे ज़्यादा समझदार समझते हैं और हैं बहुत सारी चीज़ों में. और ये जनरेशन हमेशा होते रहेगा ये प्रॉब्लम. 30% जेनजीज एम्प्लॉय हो गए हैं. 2026 तक द परसेंटेज विल बी 30%. और लेकिन जेनजीज खुश मत होना. मेरी भांजी है, वो उसको मैंने बोला कि बेटा तू कुछ 2 चीज़ सिखा दे मेरे को. तो उसने बोला कि, मैंने कहा तू जेनजी, वो मेरे को पता नहीं था 15-15 साल वाला खेल जो अमेरिका ने शुरू किया. मैं उसको नहीं मानता हूँ कि 15 साल में जेनजी हो जाते हैं, फिर 15 साल में अल्फ़ा हो जाते हैं, क्या होता है. तो उसने बोला मामा मैं अल्फ़ा हूँ, मैं जेनजी नहीं हूँ. तो मैंने कहा अच्छा ठीक है. फिर उसने एक छोटी सी कहानी बताई. मैंने बोला कुछ मेरे को सिखा. तो उसने बोला कि अरे मेरे स्कूल में एक टीचर है, उसने बोला बेंजामिन को, शी इज़ इन 4th स्टैंडर्ड, गेट आउट फ्रॉम दिस क्लास. बेंजामिन ने अपने आई कार्ड में पीछे ऊनो रिवर्स लगा रखा था. उसने घुमा दिया और बोला ऊनो रिवर्स. आप समझो कहाँ पे चीज़ें. नेक्स्ट जनरेशन इज़ नॉट कमिंग इन 15 years, इट्स कमिंग इन 3 years, एंड दे आर मोर स्मार्टर देन यू टेक्नोलॉजिकली. इमोशनली शायद वीक होंगे. बाकी सारी चीज़ों में बोलना नहीं चाहूँगा क्योंकि मेरे को ट्विटर और बाकी जगह पे खतरे नहीं लेने हैं. पर इतना ज़रूर है कि सोच और सच का एमलगमेशन है. अगर हम मिल के काम करना पड़ेगा. हमें भी जेनजीज को समझना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज उनका वक्त, उनका समय, उनकी सोच सारी अलग है. एंड इट्स एसोसिएशन विच इज़ गोइंग टू टेक दिस फर्दर.
I just want to add to this, that this generation, of course, is smarter. And जो आप कह रहे थे, अरिंदम, क्यों रखें आपको, that is, of course, very, very true. Because I just go back to what Shantanu Deshpande mentioned a couple of months ago, that people who are 40 years old and 40 years plus and drawing a salary of more than 40 lakhs, they are most vulnerable. And that's the reason, because the next generation is much more smarter. And these people have not evolved as much. If you look at the global data, on LinkedIn, roughly about 2.5 lakh people are there who have designated themselves as fractional CMOs. In India, that number is 20,000. That's not a small number. And I can guarantee you, most of them are not fractional CMOs by choice. Most of them would be by compulsion. And the reality remains that people who have not evolved, they're going to find very, very difficult to retain their jobs after 40, particularly if they're drawing more than 40 lakhs. And Gen Zs, they are looking at flexibility. Honestly, somewhere, we are guilty because we are jealous that we didn't get this privilege, which is, if you call it 10-5-5, we never had that luxury of starting our day at 10 o'clock, quitting at 5 o'clock. And I remember when we started, it was 6 days a week. Gradually, it became 5.5 days. And 5 days was a super, super, super luxury. Flexibility is very, very important. I think, giving them confidence that, and ownership is again very, very important. As far as, we are concerned, we have created an ecosystem where both agency, ownership, and flexibility is at least given in abundance. So we still work on 2 days from office and 3 days from office, 3 days for people who are less than 40 kilometers, 2 days for people who travel for more than 40 kilometers. We have like a 0-day notice period, which I think this generation loves. They don't want to stick to a job after resigning for 3 months or 4 months. They find that really, really crazy. Then we have salary on demand, on any day you like, you just need to shoot an email. No reasons asked, you get your compensation on that day. So there are many things like this, which essentially what you're doing is you're telling them, that we trust you. And once you trust them, there are many who will reciprocate back, and some will not, and that's absolutely fine. I think it's the culture, which Vandana referred to, the culture of belongingness is very, very essential to this generation.
Yeah, one more point that I have realized while dealing with this, the new generation is that they're very, they're aware of what is their purpose in life. They understand exactly what they want, at what point of time they want, at what age. It's all sorted over there. They know exactly what it is. If you fit into their scheme of things, you are there in the game. If you don't fit into their scheme of things, then thank you so much. That's what happens. So I think it's a very purpose-driven, agenda for this generation also. So they look at whether the organizational purpose is matching up to theirs, and whether their higher purpose is actually matching up to the, the offering that the organization creates for them. Then only they will stick along. I think that's very important.
Great. I guess, just figure out that talent and challenge around talent and skilling and all these things, it's such a topic which can go on, we can keep on discussing for the rest of the evening. But time is not permitting us. We are less than 3 minutes. So very quickly, we are stepping into 2026. And I know the challenge will not go away. The talent, Gen Z, AI, all will be there. And we will keep on, dealing with this. So very quickly, starting with Chetan, we can come this side. What would be one key strategy for you in talent, in sort of identifying, retaining, or getting the right talent for the right kind of work?
I'll just touch upon only one. Let's say if you were to scale up 3x from here, we have to make sure that how do we do that scaling with only 2x people, which essentially means a lot of automation needs to happen. And like Vandana said, I think I completely agree with that. All the drudgery works, the routine work has to be automated. If we are not able to do that, then we leave very little room for creativity. And I think people would stay for creativity and not for writing reports.
Right. Vandana?
I think the one thing for us is really about the learning mindset and growth mindset. It's pretty much if you apply everything with that lens and not look at having neat little boxes, but continuously evolve and just make sure that even failures are taken as learnings and you build on top of that would be my roadmap.
Seema?
For me, as a chief communication officer and having my internal team, I think what is important for me is to continue building on the role. What do you call that? Role rotation, right? So it's not about just getting a specialist to do what he is good at, but also giving them the opportunity to build further on their capabilities and make it more exciting for them. So that is what will certainly be my priority going forward.
More exciting, the job the person is doing, it should be more exciting.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that, we have to give them an option to explore. Right? And one of the strategies that I normally use, which I explained earlier also, is that, I have this dual kind of a team. Every time we do anything, there will be one expert and one not expert. And then they kind of is a maker-checker model, where one person does something and the other person, checks that. So that kind of a thing is something that really works very well. I mean, it has worked for me, and I'm sure it can work for the others as well.
Right.
For me, I think growth automatically happens. अगर performer है उसको growth मिलता है, and they understand growth more than you today. I think love, respect, care, affection, और कोई barrier नहीं हो आपके और if I am the owner of a firm, there should not be a barrier to reach out to me. So I think that is very important. वो नकली बाधाएं जो हैं वो ख़त्म करनी होगी, and you have to love your people.
Right. Yeah, hardly 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
I'll just quickly wrap up by saying that cultural safety is very important for this generation. Create an environment where you can actually give them that culture, that psychological safety. That will be very important for them.
Right, great. Thank you so much. We sort of ended right at the time. Thank you so much for, the discussions. As I said, we can go on with this the rest of the evening, but we'll have to stop over here. Thank you. Thank you.